What's up guys, it's Tailwind Eagle here, and today I'll be doing a draft analysis. Now this will be the first draft analysis on this channel out of 3, as we are doing the APA style for the PBL Season 7, where we get to draft one team, use it for 4 weeks, then draft the next team, 4 weeks, next team, 4 weeks, then playoffs, where we get to draft a team out of the 33 Pokemon we have, if we make it 33 Pokemon, because I am allowing multiple same draft picks, so you could pick, I could pick up one of my picks from this draft in the next one. Anyway, moving on. The Gardevoir State Warriors are back again. We are the Season 1 champion and the Season, I believe, 4 champion. So we're looking to get another championship. We have lost 2 finals recently in a row. So we're hoping that we can come back and get a win here this time. Be a 3rd time champion. Now my first pick was Staraptor. Now Staraptor is one of my favorite Pokemon to use in draft format, if not my favorite. It's very reliable for me. It's a fantastic physical sweeper. It's just such a great revenge killer, late game cleaner if I've got a choice scarf. Not much switches into a choice banded Brave Bird Reckless. Um, it's something that I know how to use, and it's one of the reasons why I picked it up is because I wanted at least one physical attacker in the playoffs as an option. So if I do make playoffs, I do have Staraptor to fall back on if I don't like any of the other tier 2s I picked up. It also can be run with Intimidate Defensive and Defog and Roost, which I have used before. It's given me I've used it twice and I've had one result of success and one result of failure. So I may use it again, I may not. But I just wanted a nice flying type that could get away from ground earth, quick spam, a nice defogger if I need it, and a reliable pick for me. Now my second pick is another reliable pick, and that second pick is Mega Gardevoir. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, Mega in draft format. I've used it many times and I've enjoyed every second using it. The raw power is just crazy for me. I know that I get access to like Will-O-Wisp, Wish, Healing Wish if I wanted to bring a Pokemon back up to full HP like Staraptor from his recoil damage. You get strong Pixelate boosted Hyper Voices. I have considered once running a physical return Gardevoir because my opponent had a really low physically defensive Pokemon. It was just like an extra option move on the side of my special move pool. It's not something I usually do, but it's an option for me because of Pixelate Return. It does give me my Fairy of my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, which is another reason why I wanted to pick it up. And of course, if I do make playoffs, I can pick it if I don't like the other 2 megas I get to draft. Moving on, um, again, I've got picked up Umbreon. Now, Umbreon is a very weird 3rd round pick, as there is many stuff left in the pool that could have been sniped from me that I wanted. But I went with Umbreon mainly because of a little joke I was doing, a little theme I was doing during the draft, which is the Red Like Roses song. I started off with Staraptor being Ruby, Gardevoir being Weiss, and obviously the 3rd Pokemon needed to have some black on it or a significant amount of black on the Pokemon, and obviously Umbreon was something I had on my draft plan, so I thought I'd prioritize it just to fit the song. It was just a little bit of a joke, but ended up not getting any snipes, so that was handy. But this is a great defensive Pokemon. It's got fantastic bulk in defense or special defense if I need it. It doesn't count as setup fodder for physical attackers, as if I predict a Sword Stance and I foul play, that's probably a dead whatever Pokemon that's in front of me. However, it is special attacker Calm Mind fodder, which is what I need to be careful of, especially something like Reuniclus, which can't be toxic, or Crocoon, which can just rest off the toxic. But overall, it's just a nice cleric with obviously Wish Passing. It gets Heal Bell, gets Foul Play. Many just some very good moves. Overall, it's just a Pokemon that I wanted to use again. It's been a long time since I've used it, and I felt that now would be a good time to bring it back into my team. It's also a good Target type, so it is a nice switch into Psychic moves for one of my other Pokemon I'm picking up. Yeah, but other than that, it's fairly standard for what an Umbreon does. Now my 4th pick was Jirachi. Jirachi is the yellow part of the song, and that was the only song-related drafts I picked. So I didn't want to mess up the rest of my draft. But this Pokemon filled out my Steel Core. I needed a good Steel type, and some already good Steel types have been taken. So I needed one that I wanted to try out that I've never used before. And I've never used Jirachi before because it's never really appealed to me or someone has gotten to it first. Now I know how fantastic Iron Head and Zen Headbutt flinches with Scarf can be with Serene Grace and how annoying it can be. But I also know that it can be a great Wish user, a Stealth Rock user, base 100 across the board makes it a very good defensive Pokemon. It also can be special with Moonblast, Psychic, Calm Mind, or if it is going physical, it can have Fire Punch. I believe it gets Ice Punch, but it definitely gets Fire Punch. It gets Play Rough as well to hit dragons. It does get Ice Punch. It gets Energy Ball for water types it doesn't touch. If I wanted to, I could run Doom Desire. Just many different options that I have for this Pokemon. I can run Screens if I needed to. It's just a general Pokemon that I wanted to try out, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. And it's another Stealth Rocker, whilst also filling out one more section of my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Now, my next pick was a Heliolisk. Now, Heliolisk I only picked up due to one of the other picks I had in mind. This other pick was going to be next, but as I looked up the draft, what was left to be picked up in the draft, I decided that this needed to be prioritized, and the Pokemon or Z Crystal after it, as we do draft Z Crystals, needed to be prioritized as well. Now, Heliolisk is just a very nice Pokemon. There's already been a possible rain team that didn't actually get a rain setter in the end, but there was dry skin for that to switch into like some nice water moves. There has been a sand team picked up, so Sandgel would be nice. And then obviously solar power if someone picks up sun. It's just an all-round nice fast special attacking electric type. A fast electric type is usually very good in draft format. And Heliolisk gives me what I needed. Gives me Thunderbolt, Hyper Voice, Volt Switch, Surf, Energy Ball. Just some good moves all around that I could make use of as coverage moves late weeks. It's also got base 109 speed, which outspeeds base 100s, but just falls shy of base 110s, but I think I can make that work. So moving on, it doesn't get Energy Ball, it gets Grass Knot, my mistake. I knew it got one Grass move. So moving on, my next pick was Electrium Z. Now, the reason I took Electrium Z now, and not the Pokemon that I had in mind, was because I was looking at the draft and I didn't really see anyone that was going to take this Pokemon I had. But I did see a team that had a Tapu Koko, a Hawlucha, and a Alolan Raichu. I know Hawlucha doesn't really care much for the Electric Z, but it does get Thunder Punch, and then there's Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichu, which does get a low Raichu Z if it picks up Electric Z. So I knew that if I left it this round, I wouldn't get it. So I just picked up this because I could use it with Z Thunder Punch. I could use it with this Pokemon, with obviously the previous Pokemon, with Z Thunderbolt Stab. There was other Pokemon I knew that I was picking up that got Thunderbolt later in the draft. So it was just an all-round nice Z Crystal I wanted to use to pair with obviously my Heliolisk and other Pokemon that could get it, like my Jirachi. My next pick. Now I was second to last out of 16 people, so I was 15th in the draft, and it was a long time, and I was surprised this Pokemon made it back to me, but it's Conkeldurr. Now I was looking for a nice physical attacking Electrium Z user, as I only really had Jirachi, and it wasn't the most powerful. But I also wanted a fighting type because I wanted to fill out a psychic fighting dark core, and I had the dark and I had the psychic type. And I saw Conkeldurr, and I've never really enjoyed Conkeldurr. It's always been one of those Pokemon that I've kind of frowned upon. I know it's a fantastic mon, but I've never really liked its design or anything about it. However, upon seeing in the MCC, which is another league I am in, my friend using Gurdurr, because it's Middle Cup, I found a newfound respect for this Pokemon, and I wanted to try out the older form of it, getting access to Guts with Flame Orb, Iron Fist for just things like Mug Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Drain Punch, and then or alternatively Sheer Force to boost those moves without getting the secondary effects. I thought all three of those abilities were fantastic for my team, and the slow fighting type that I could put in Trick Room with either Gardevoir or Jirachi was just a huge threat that I wanted. Plus, the priority in Mark Punch meant that if I was against something like a Bishop or a Kartana or something like that and it was coming close to death and sweeping my team, I could just come in, Mark Punch it, or scare it out with Mark Punch. But overall, it's just a fantastic, hard-hitting, physical attacker. My next pick was Leavanny. Now, as you can see by the Heliolisk and Leavanny, I'm picking up a Sunsetter. It's not going to be a primary Sun team, but it's got elements of a Sun team. Now, I picked up Leavanny. I originally was going to go with Leafeon, but then I remembered that Leavanny was down there for my grass type, for my Fire Water Grass core, and Leavanny gave me Sticky Webs, which wasn't something I normally wanted when looking through this, but I just remembered that was a nice bonus while looking at Chlorophyll users. I wanted at least one Chlorophyll user. So I picked up Leavanny because obviously it's a 4 times resistance to ground. It's a Sticky Web user. It gets access to, obviously, X-Scissor, Knockoff, Leaf Blade. It does get access to Sword Stance, so if I wanted to, I could make it a Sun Sweeper. Synthesis to heal, Sticky Webs, get Shadow Claw, gets Reflect, Poison Jab, just a myriad of good moves, dual screens. And I just wanted to over Leafeon because it also got Heal Bell, which is kind of what Leafeon was tempting me for. But I just felt like the power of Leafeon was nice, but not worth the ability to run webs and have a nice bug type as well. But that's all there's really to say about Leavanny. It's not much. It gets Overcoat, so I could be immune to Sand if I wanted to. Obviously, Swarm, so if I get like Sash into an X-Scissor, could be useful for a powered up X-Scissor. Not much, but most weeks it'll be run with Chlorophyll, with Webs, or even Offensive if I needed it to. It does also give me Grassy Terrain if I needed to get rid of someone else's terrain, as all 3 Tapus did get drafted. Obviously, I wouldn't use it against the Bulu, but the Feeny and the Coco, I could remove their terrains. My 9th pick was that Pokemon I was talking about, Torkoal. I didn't think anyone was going to take Torkoal, and I really wanted to try out Torkoal. It gives me a Stealth Rocker, a Rapid Spinner, and a Fire type. Something I was looking for throughout multiple picks. I wanted another Stealth Rocker. I wanted another Hazard removal, and I wanted to fill out my Fire core. And when I saw this Pokemon doing all 3, I've always liked its design. I thought, I'll give it a shot. Giving me Drought, so I can make use of Solar Power, which pretty much gives me a choice specs on my Heliolisk, Shell Arm if I wanted to have no crits, and obviously White Smoke if I was running physical against an Intimidate user or something. Mainly it's going to be used with Drought or Shell Armor, but I just wanted a nice physically bulky Pokemon that could Rapid Spin, set rocks, give it a nice Fire type, that with Sun Boost is actually going to make it not passive. If I wanted to, I could make it like a Trick Room Eruption Sweeper, guess Earth Power, which is really nice. But the main selling point was the Fire typing, the Sun, the Rapid Spin, and the Stealth Rock. I didn't think anyone would take it, and I was lucky enough to let it fall to me. Otherwise, the Heliolisk and the Leavanny wouldn't have been able to make use of their Sun abilities. Next, my 10th pick was Latias. Now, I was surprised Latias made it back to me. I was looking at my team, and I noticed that my special defense was lacking. I didn't have many good specially defensive Pokemon. I was looking at my averages. I didn't have a dragon. I didn't have a specially defensive Pokemon, and my special attack was quite lackluster as well. So I looked into Tier 1, then I looked into the dragons, and I saw Latias sitting there. Latios had already been taken, and Latias was just a nice, again, another cleric, another defogger, another healing wish user, but it also can be offensive with that base 110 special attack and 110 speed that I could run Calm Mind. I also have a tech that I don't want to reveal that's pretty fun to use. I've seen put in a lot of work against a Alolan Muck. Actually, I can reveal it. It's Reflect type into a Alolan Muck, so a Alolan Muck couldn't touch you. You could Calm Mind in front of it. Obviously, Alolan Muck wasn't drafted this draft, but it was something that was considered. I know. But the Levitate is another ground immunity. It gets great moves in obviously Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, Mist Ball. I know it's not the better than Psychic or Psyshock, but I just personally like Luster Purge and Mist Ball. Mist Ball obviously lowering their special attack. But all around, it was just mainly a nice specialty defensive Pokemon and a Dragon typing. So with Jirachi, Gardevoir Mega, and Latias, I have filled out my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, but they're all Psychic types. So I've got to be very careful of Knockoff and Shadow Ball, which is what Staraptor can take the Shadow Balls, and Umbreon is fantastic at taking both Dark and Ghost moves. So I didn't feel too worried about the shared weaknesses, especially with Conkeldurr there as well to take out Dark types. Now, my 11th pick was the last 2 picks are very interesting. My 11th pick was Wishiwashi. Now, everyone tells me that Wishiwashi is a terrible Pokemon, and I normally agree with them, but I have used Wishy Washy before, and I have got many, many kills with this monster. I've been able to run some calcs where I can make it especially defensive and then revenge kill some things that are attacking it because it's just got a 140 attack or 140 special attack. Gets access to Iron Tail, Earthquake, Waterfall, and U-Turn for a physical move pool. Then obviously Hidden Power, Scald, Ice Beam, or Hydro Pump for a special move pool. So it can go defensive or offensive. The HP stat is atrocious along with the speed, but this Pokemon just increased every single one of my averages, and it just brought me what I wanted. The only thing it didn't bring me that I wanted was the water typing, because my next Pokemon that I decided from the start of the draft was also a water type. But I have now filled out my Fire Water Grass with Torkoal, Wishy Washy, and Leavanny. I also can make this a Trick Room Sweeper, which I've done before. I do have to be careful that if I get below 25%, at the end of the turn I will revert to my baby weak Wishy Washy form, which is extremely weak, massive setup fodder, and just completely useless. But I can alleviate that with a Thicky Berry to increase my HP back above when I get to 25%, or just hope they take me out and don't have any form of setup on that Pokemon that's in front of it. I also could U-turn out of there and just use it as a sack later on. Now my final pick. Now this pick was decided right at the start of the draft, and I was going to take it as my second pick or my first pick, just for the jokes, but it is Basculin. Basculin as a tier 5 was the pick I wanted just because while doing a Pokemon Insurgence Nuzlocke, well Soul Link with my good friend Royal, we on our first attempt, a Basculin just absolutely tore apart my team. And ever since then, it's just been a nice joke with me and Royal about Basculin being the lock killer. And I've personally always liked Basculin as Pokemon I've wanted to draft many times, but it always gets outshone by many other water types like Milotic, Swampert, Feraligatr, Sharpedo, and just doesn't do what I needed to do. But this season, since there was free draft, I decided I was going to give it a go. It gets access to 4 abilities and Adaptability, which is crazy good, Mold Breaker, which is pretty decent, Reckless and Rockhead as well. Now, I used to think Reckless and Rockhead were useless, but I recently found out that this little monster gets Head Smash, which Reckless boosted Head Smash is going to hurt any fire type that faces it. So there's an option for me. Obviously, I could also go with Rockhead to avoid the recoil. But this is the other water type I was going with. Wishy Washy was like a last second pick. It was not originally planned. That's why I have 2 water types. I do have a lot of shared typings. But I'm very excited for this draft. This is the final draft and how it looks. Um, Overall, I'm happy with my team. I've only got 2 Stealth Rockers, which is my biggest issue that I have with this team, in Jirachi and Torkoal. But I do have some good removal in Staraptor, Torkoal, and Gardevoir. No, not Gardevoir, sorry, Latias. I don't know why I said Gardevoir. Latias. So overall, it's pretty decent. I do have some good knockoff switches in Conk and Umbreon. And I also have a nice normal type. I have 2 normal types to sponge up Shadow Balls as well. So I'm hoping my Psychic types don't face too much competition from Dark types and Ghost types with my team support. But overall, this is the first draft that I've done, and I'll be recording battles post commentary. But hope you enjoyed, and I hope I can keep up with the uploads. Alright, peace.